Welcome back. We're starting off this segment in Botswana, where the president, Mokwetsi Masisi, wants a new long-term diamond sales pact with De Beers when the current 10-year deal expires in 2020, and for more gems to be processed locally. The conclusion of an accord is crucial for both Botswana, which relies on diamonds for almost a fifth of its gross domestic product, and for the Anglo-American PLC unit that gets about two-thirds of its gems from the Southern African nation. Masisi, who is due to contest elections next year, is pushing for the industry to create more jobs and is determined that more diamonds be cut and polished in the country, achieving a win-win for both, and that's what he desires. Botswana is the world's biggest diamond producer after Russia, and most of its gems are mined by Debswana, a 50-50 joint venture between the government and De Beers. And let's talk LPG. A lot of investment opportunities abound in the natural gas sector of the Nigerian petroleum industry. Increasing attention is now being given to this vital sector. Now, Nigeria's LPG market has risen to over 600,000 meters per annum with the massive investments in infrastructure. The market has, however, been threatened by many problems, including inadequate funding and policy issues. Let's bring in one of the research analysts with financial derivatives company, Pamela Basiduk, to tell us more about this commodities. Hello, Pamela. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me today.
Well, Pamela, if you can hear me, total consumption of liquefied petroleum gas in Nigeria with a population of 186 million is much lower than Benin Republic and Togo. Why is this so?
Okay, so it's important for us to note that Nigeria is the major source of liquefied petroleum gas in Africa. As you know, Nigeria has the largest gas reserve of over 5 trillion cubic meter in Africa, and is also a net exporter of this gas. But however, given our high population numbers of above 106 million people, we only consume 35% compared to that of Benin Republic at 55% and that of Cote d'Ivoire at 65%, which makes LPG least utilized amongst other 4 major cooking fuels such as kerosene, charcoal, firewood, and of course LPG. Now, as such, what this means is that Nigeria has the lowest per capita usage of 1.8 kilograms of LPG compared to West African regional average of 3.5 kilograms. So Nigeria does have the potential to utilize gas production and thereby increasing its consumption. However, there are still constraints in place, such as lack of awareness to incentivize citizens to migrate from biomass such as firewood to LPG, high cost of gas cylinder, and high cost of this gas compared to other West African countries. We also have the problem of a lack of infrastructure for storage and distribution of gas to its end users. And then there's the concerns of safety. Most people believe that LPG is more combustible than other fuels for cooking. And then there's the inadequate support to private businesses that are interested in promoting the domestic use of LPG in Nigeria.
Now, the price of a 12 kg gas cylinder has remained flat at about 3,700. Meanwhile, the average price per liter of kerosene increased by 3.53% month-on-month to 278 naira in April. Why is there a disconnect?
Okay, so as you know, kerosene is not only used for cooking, it has other functions such as a lightning fuel, like when we use kerosene lamps. They use kerosene heating oil, and it can also be used to power jet engines. And so all of this has led to an increase. So predominantly, there's been an increase in demand for kerosene, which we have seen in the prices of kerosene, as we saw an increase in April. However, on the other hand, price of cylinder has remained relatively flat due to the fact that people are moving to cheaper substitutes such as that of firewood, charcoal, and chaffing fuel, biofuel, because it's believed that it is less combustible than LPG. So these are the reasons, or this is the reason why LPG has remained flat and kerosene has increased. Price of kerosene has increased.
So what is the correlation between gas consumption and the removal of subsidy on kerosene?
As you know, kerosene is derived from refined petroleum. So if there's an increase in oil prices, definitely to translate to an increase in kerosene. What does this mean? So we know that we don't refine petroleum in Nigeria. We do that we refine petroleum outside Nigeria. So an increase in oil means there will be an increase in landing cost for kerosene as well. So that means the one amount to bring in kerosene, that's the landing cost to ship kerosene to Nigeria, increases. So this, with the removal of the subsidy, what this means is that it is going to be borne by the consumers. Higher prices will be borne by the consumers. So we're going to definitely see consumers shift to cheaper substitutes. However, as LPG is not as cheap as other sources, we'll see consumers shift to cheaper sources, such as, like we talked about earlier, such as the charcoal and the firewood, which is a less cleaner source of gas than the LPG.
So there are major safety concerns surrounding the distribution and use of LPG. How do you think these are being addressed as the use of gas is growing rapidly?
Okay, so in Nigeria, we have the Nigeria LPG Association, which has come up with a robust program to mitigate incidents and accidents. So the program seeks to educate the shareholders in the value chain, so that's from the distributors all the way to the suppliers. So in essence, we're looking at the activities, are looking at awareness building, training of this on safe storage and the use of LPG, education on the best practices for installation in homes and high-rise buildings. Then they're also training the truck drivers on the safe loading and unloading of LPG. And then there will also be a certification program for these installers of equipment and piping of the systems. And then recently, we've noticed that of heard radio jingles, which it's sensitizing the public on the safety measures of the use to be adopted for the use of LPG. And also at filling stations, so petrol stations, will hand out flyers to customers, which outlines the safety measures to be used to be adopted in use of liquefied petroleum gas in Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much for your time, Pamela Bassi Duke, one of the research analysts with Financial Derivatives Company. And finally, Angola's sole liquefied natural gas project is stepping up exports of cargoes in the spot market ahead of maintenance. The plant has issued several tenders in the spot market for LNG cargoes to load in May and June. Angola's soya plant, which has a capacity of 5.2 million tons of LNG per year, will be undergoing a planned shutdown for maintenance in July, with production expected to resume in early August. Angola exported a record high of nearly 500,000 tons of LNG last month, up 10% from March. And that's a wrap on the program. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Chimizi Obi Iwago.